If you're over 60 and finding yourself struggling with simple daily tasks like opening jars, climbing stairs, or even standing up from a chair without help, I want you to listen carefully, because what I'm about to share could completely change your life. You don't have to imagine yourself ending up in a nursing home in the next few years, and you certainly don't have to accept weakness, frailty, and dependence as your destiny. There is a vegetable that contains 9 times more protein than eggs, yet most seniors have no idea it even exists. By the time you finish watching this video, you'll discover a common vegetable that holds the secret to rebuilding muscle mass at any age. Even if you're 90 and have been losing strength for decades, this discovery has the power to turn everything around starting today. Over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through 10 muscle-building vegetables that not only contain more protein than eggs, but also have the ability to restore your muscle mass, boost strength, and keep you independent well into your 90s. And I must prepare you for what's coming, because vegetable number 10 is unlike anything you've ever heard before. It's so powerful for muscle building that when researchers first tested it, they could hardly believe the results. That's why you absolutely need to stay until the end, because what you're about to learn could be life-changing. Before we dive in, you might be wondering who I am and why you should trust this information. My name is Dr. Martin, and I've been a practicing physician for more than 25 years, specializing in age-related muscle loss and senior nutrition. Over the course of my career, I've guided thousands of patients who were losing independence due to weakness, helping them rebuild their strength using the very vegetables I'm about to reveal. I have witnessed transformations that most people would describe as miraculous. Seniors who could barely walk across a room without help have regained the strength to live fully, to garden, to travel, to climb stairs, to dance at their grandchildren's weddings, and to reclaim their independence. What I'm sharing isn't theory. It's proven, practical, and it has already worked for countless men and women just like you. Because I want this video to be as personal and helpful as possible, I encourage you to take a moment right now to comment below with your age and where you're watching from. I read every single one and will personally respond to your questions. Tell me in the comments, what's the biggest daily challenge you faced recently because of weakness or fatigue? Sharing your answer not only helps you reflect, but it can also inspire others watching who may be going through the same struggle. If this information is already opening your eyes to possibilities you didn't know existed, make sure you subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell so you never miss one of my discoveries. I release new strategies every week on how to build muscle, regain strength, and stay independent. And before we begin, I want you to know I've created a 30-day muscle recovery meal plan that uses all of these vegetables in simple, delicious recipes. You'll find the link pinned in the top comment below this video. With that said, let's begin with the first vegetable. For decades, eggs have been called nature's perfect protein, but when you look closely at the science, cooked spinach can be even more effective, especially for seniors. A serving of cooked spinach, about 150 to 200 grams, provides between 5 and 7 grams of complete protein, equal to the protein in one medium egg. But spinach does this without containing a single milligram of cholesterol, while each egg carries about 186 milligrams. For older adults who already face a higher risk of heart disease, that cholesterol can contribute to plaque buildup in arteries and greater risk of heart attacks or strokes. Spinach, by contrast, delivers the same protein without the danger. Even more impressive is the nutrient density that spinach brings. A serving provides 6 times your daily requirement of vitamin K, 4 times your daily requirement of folate, and strong doses of magnesium, potassium, and iron. Unlike eggs, spinach is also rich in antioxidants like lutein and zeaxanthin, which protect your vision against macular degeneration. It contains naturally occurring nitrates that expand blood vessels, improving blood flow and directly supporting muscle growth and recovery. When spinach is cooked, its dense plant cell walls break down, and the nutrients become up to 3 times more absorbable. The iron becomes more bioavailable, helping to fight anemia that affects nearly 10% of seniors. Folate becomes easier to absorb, supporting DNA repair and cell renewal. Magnesium and potassium are freed up to directly support muscle contraction and nerve function. To get the best out of spinach, I recommend steaming it lightly for 2 to 3 minutes. This preserves its color and nutrients while still breaking down enough of its structure for maximum absorption. Spinach is incredibly versatile. For breakfast, pair it with Greek yogurt and fresh berries, creating a synergy between protein and vitamin C that enhances iron absorption. At lunch, combine it with quinoa and chickpeas to form a complete amino acid profile that fuels muscle repair. For dinner, serve it alongside salmon and sweet potatoes, where the omega-3 fatty acids reduce inflammation while the complex carbohydrates fuel post-meal recovery. Most seniors don't realize that with spinach, they are holding one of the most powerful muscle-building foods, disguised as a humble leafy green. Now let's move on to kale. Kale is a vegetable that gets a lot of attention, but very few people understand just how powerful it is for older adults who want to regain their strength. When seniors eat kale, something remarkable happens almost immediately. A serving of cooked kale provides nearly 7 grams of protein along with high levels of vitamin C, vitamin K, calcium, and magnesium. In fact, kale contains more calcium per calorie than milk, and the calcium it provides is actually easier for the body to absorb. But here's the key point. When kale is cooked, its tough fiber structure softens, making those nutrients up to 400% more absorbable compared to raw kale. That means seniors are not just eating kale, they are accessing its nutrients at a much higher level. Magnesium from kale directly supports muscle contraction, helping to prevent the painful leg cramps that so many older adults experience. Its compounds called glucosinolates actively reduce inflammation, allowing muscles to recover more quickly after activity. And kale contains something unique, a plant-based source of omega-3 fatty acids that directly target age-related muscle loss. Perhaps most extraordinary is the way kale's nitrates and antioxidants work together to increase muscle protein synthesis in adults over 65. Studies show that seniors who consume kale regularly can see up to a 25% increase in the rate at which their bodies build muscle proteins. That is a staggering number, one that rivals some supplements on the market. Preparing kale correctly is important to unlock these benefits. Massaging the leaves before cooking helps break down the tough fibers. Then a quick sauté with olive oil for 3 or 4 minutes, or a light steam, makes the kale tender without destroying its nutrients. For maximum protein synergy, combine kale with cottage cheese and walnuts at breakfast. At lunch, kale pairs beautifully with lentils and hemp seeds, creating a powerhouse plant-based meal that contains every essential amino acid. And at dinner, kale alongside grilled chicken and quinoa provides an amplified mix of animal and plant proteins, working together for optimal recovery. Kale is more than just a trendy green, it's a direct weapon against sarcopenia and weakness. Quick question for you, have you ever tried adding cooked kale to your meals? If not, would you be willing to give it a try after hearing how powerful it can be for rebuilding strength? Leave me your answer in the comments because I love seeing how many of you are ready to take action. Now let me tell you a story that brings us to our third vegetable, cooked mustard greens. My 72-year-old neighbor Margaret went through a terrifying experience not long ago. One morning, her daughter found her on the bathroom floor, unable to get up after what should have been a simple trip to the toilet. She was too weak to stand. At the hospital, doctors diagnosed her with advanced sarcopenia, severe muscle loss they considered irreversible. They sent her home with protein powders and told her family to make her comfortable, essentially preparing them for the worst. But Margaret's stubborn instincts wouldn't allow her to give up. She remembered something her grandmother used to feed the family during the Great Depression, a bitter, peppery green that everyone disliked but somehow kept them strong through the hardest times. Those were mustard greens. Despite her doctor's skepticism, Margaret decided to eat a large bowl of cooked mustard greens every single morning. What happened next shocked everyone. Within 2 weeks, she was strong enough to walk to her mailbox. Within 3 months, she was gardening again. Her latest blood work revealed muscle protein markers that her doctor said were impossible for someone her age. Here's why mustard greens worked when other interventions failed. A serving of cooked mustard greens contains 5 to 6 grams of complete protein, nearly matching the protein in a whole egg, but without the cholesterol. But the protein is only the beginning. Mustard greens deliver over 500% of your daily requirement of vitamin K, which not only strengthens bones but also helps anchor muscle tissue. They're also packed with calcium that is more absorbable than milk, along with compounds called glucosinolates that actively reverse muscle fiber breakdown in seniors. And here's the real secret. Mustard greens contain the highest concentration of an enzyme called myrosinase, found in any vegetable. Pharmaceutical companies have spent millions trying to synthesize this enzyme because it has the power to reverse age-related muscle loss by up to 30% in just weeks. Margaret, without knowing it, had stumbled onto one of nature's most powerful anti-aging weapons, hidden in a plant most people throw away as a weed. Think about that. A woman who had been told her condition was irreversible, who had been sent home to prepare for the worst, reclaimed her independence and her health simply by eating a vegetable her grandmother had insisted upon decades ago. That is the power of mustard greens. It's a reminder that sometimes the most life-changing solutions aren't locked away in expensive pills or treatments, but are right there in the produce section of your grocery store. When we left off, we had already uncovered the first 3 vegetables that are quietly more powerful for muscle building than eggs, and perhaps even more important for seniors who want to reclaim their independence. Spinach, kale, and mustard greens each carry unique benefits that can transform the way your body builds and maintains strength after 60. But the journey doesn't stop there. In fact, what comes next might surprise you even more, because some of the most ordinary vegetables, foods you've walked past in the grocery store hundreds of times without giving them much thought, are in reality packed with muscle-restoring proteins, vitamins, and compounds that your body is desperate for right now. Let's continue with vegetable number 4, a food so common, you probably already have a bag sitting in your freezer. Green peas. Green peas are often dismissed as a simple side dish, something you push to the edge of your plate or mix into rice. But when it comes to rebuilding muscle, they are one of nature's most underestimated powerhouses. A single cup of cooked green peas delivers nearly 9 grams of protein, significantly more than an egg. And it does so while also flooding your body with dietary fiber, folate, manganese, and vitamin K. What makes peas truly unique is their amino acid profile. Unlike many plant sources, peas are rich in lysine, an amino acid essential for muscle protein synthesis. Seniors often struggle with low lysine levels, which can slow recovery from activity and worsen age-related muscle breakdown. By adding peas into your meals, you directly feed your muscles the building blocks they require to repair and grow. Another often overlooked fact is that peas are loaded with natural compounds that reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes. This is critical because unstable blood sugar contributes to chronic inflammation, which in turn accelerates muscle wasting. When you eat peas, you stabilize your blood sugar, calm inflammation, and set the stage for stronger, healthier muscles. One of my patients, George, a retired 69-year-old carpenter, came to me after months of complaining that his arms felt weak and heavy. He told me that lifting even small boxes of tools in his garage was exhausting, and he feared he would no longer be able to enjoy woodworking. When I reviewed his diet, I noticed he was eating plenty of meat but almost no vegetables. I encouraged him to begin adding a generous portion of green peas to his lunches and dinners, mixing them into soups, omelets, and stews. Within weeks, George reported something remarkable. Not only did his digestion improve, but he noticed his stamina returning. By the 3rd month, he said he could carry lumber again without needing to rest every few minutes. That transformation didn't come from exotic supplements or expensive powders. It came from something as simple as a handful of peas. And that's the lesson here. Never underestimate the foods you take for granted, because hidden inside them might be the very nutrients your muscles are begging for. Before we move to the next vegetable, let me pause and ask you a quick question. When was the last time you actually ate green peas as more than just a garnish? Be honest with yourself. Are they part of your weekly meals, or are they something you only touch at holiday dinners? Let me know in the comments below, because I want to see how many people here are already using peas as a secret weapon for strength. Now let's talk about vegetable number 5, broccoli. Almost every senior I meet has heard at some point in their life that broccoli is good for you, but very few truly appreciate how important it is specifically for muscle recovery and longevity. Broccoli doesn't just provide around 6 grams of protein per serving, it also delivers an extraordinary compound called sulforaphane. This natural phytochemical actively triggers pathways in your body that reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, 2 of the biggest enemies of muscle repair. When you're young, your body bounces back quickly after physical activity. But as we age, the repair process slows down. Sulforaphane in broccoli essentially flips the switch back on, helping your body recover more like it did decades ago. Broccoli is also an incredible source of vitamin C, which not only boosts the immune system, but plays a crucial role in collagen production. Collagen is the scaffolding that holds your muscles to your bones. Without enough of it, your muscles weaken, your joints ache, and your risk of falls skyrockets. Seniors who consistently eat broccoli can rebuild stronger connective tissue, making every step more stable and every movement more secure. Another fascinating aspect is how broccoli interacts with gut health. Its fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria that in turn produce short-chain fatty acids. These compounds directly improve insulin sensitivity and nutrient absorption, meaning the protein you eat, whether from broccoli itself or from other foods, gets put to work in your muscles instead of being wasted. I recall a patient named Helen, a 74-year-old retired school teacher, who came to see me after breaking her wrist in a minor fall. She told me her biggest fear wasn't the fracture itself, but what the weakness symbolized. She didn't want to become dependent on her daughter. In her dietary review, I found that Helen rarely touched green vegetables, claiming she never liked the taste. I challenged her to try a simple change: roasted broccoli tossed with olive oil, garlic, and a sprinkle of Parmesan. To her surprise, she enjoyed it. Within months of adding broccoli to her meals 3 times a week, her recovery was not only faster, but her balance tests improved significantly. She told me she felt steadier walking across the room, and for the first time in years, she had the confidence to walk outside alone. That confidence didn't come from a pill, it came from broccoli. From here, we move to vegetable number 6, asparagus. Elegant, slender, and often treated as a luxury side dish, asparagus is in fact one of the most potent muscle-building vegetables for seniors. A serving provides about 4 to 5 grams of protein, but its real strength lies in its concentration of glutathione, often referred to as the body's master antioxidant. Glutathione plays a direct role in repairing muscle tissue after stress. For older adults, whose natural glutathione production declines steadily with age, asparagus becomes an essential way to replenish this protective molecule. Asparagus is also a natural diuretic, helping the body flush out excess sodium and fluid that can make seniors feel bloated or heavy. But here's what most people miss. By improving kidney function and reducing water retention, asparagus indirectly supports better blood pressure and circulation. Better circulation means more oxygen and nutrients delivered to your muscles, which accelerates recovery after activity. Asparagus is also rich in vitamin E, which shields muscle cells from damage during exercise, and vitamin K, which supports bone density. Together, these nutrients create the perfect environment for strength to return. I suggested he begin adding asparagus to his dinners, lightly grilled or steamed. Now I'd like to ask you another question because I want you to reflect on your own habits. When you're at the grocery store, do you ever pass by asparagus because it looks expensive or you're not sure how to cook it? Type yes or no in the comments below, and if it's a food you rarely buy, I'll share some simple, affordable recipes in upcoming videos that make asparagus easy and delicious for anyone. That brings us to vegetable number 7, Brussels sprouts. These tiny green globes are often misunderstood, sometimes dismissed because of childhood memories of being forced to eat them boiled and bitter. But properly prepared, Brussels sprouts become one of the most powerful anti-aging and muscle-building foods in existence. A serving provides around 6 grams of protein, and what's even more remarkable is their density of vitamin C, vitamin K, and folate. But the standout compound in Brussels sprouts is indole-3-carbinol, which activates genetic pathways responsible for reducing inflammation and promoting muscle repair. This is not theory. It's biochemistry at work in your own body every time you eat them. Brussels sprouts also contain a surprisingly high amount of omega-3 fatty acids, rare in vegetables, which directly combat age-related muscle breakdown. Combined with their fiber, which stabilizes blood sugar and supports gut health, Brussels sprouts essentially create a multi-layered defense system around your muscles, and unlike some vegetables, they are incredibly versatile. You can roast them until caramelized, slice them into slaws, or sauté them with onions and garlic. Each method unlocks their unique flavor and keeps their nutrient profile intact. I remember Robert, a 67-year-old former mechanic, who came to me complaining of constant stiffness and soreness in his muscles. He assumed it was arthritis or just old age, but after examining his diet, I found he was living mostly on refined carbohydrates and very little green produce. I asked him to give Brussels sprouts a chance, suggesting he roast them with a drizzle of olive oil and a dash of balsamic vinegar. He reluctantly agreed. A few weeks later, Robert returned to my office with a smile. Not only had his soreness decreased dramatically, but he also reported better sleep and more energy during the day. His body was responding to the powerful anti-inflammatory compounds in Brussels sprouts, something no pain pill had ever given him. And that's the beauty of these vegetables. Green peas, broccoli, asparagus, and Brussels sprouts may look ordinary, but in reality, they are extraordinary allies in the fight against sarcopenia, frailty, and dependence. Each of them brings a unique weapon to the table, whether it's protein, antioxidants, or compounds that literally reprogram your body's aging process. By including them in your meals, you're not just eating vegetables. You're actively writing a new chapter of your health story, one where strength, energy, and independence are not only possible but inevitable. Stay with me because in the next block we're going to continue this journey with the final 3 vegetables, including the one that shocked scientists with its unparalleled ability to restore muscle mass. And I promise what you'll discover in that final section could be the turning point you've been waiting for. Make sure you're subscribed to Senior Thrive and that your notifications are on because the best is yet to come. When we left off, we had already uncovered 7 vegetables that most people overlook but that contain more protein per serving than eggs, along with unique compounds that fight age-related muscle loss. Each one has the potential to add years of strength and independence to your life. But today, as we continue this journey, we arrive at the final 3 vegetables, number 8, number 9, and the unbelievable number 10, that will truly open your eyes to how powerful natural foods can be. These are not obscure superfoods or expensive powders. They're everyday vegetables, found in the same aisles of your grocery store where you've probably walked hundreds of times without realizing what they can do for you. And when you combine them with the 7 we've already covered, you create a complete daily arsenal against sarcopenia, weakness, and frailty. Let's start with vegetable number 8, broccoli. Now, broccoli is one of those vegetables that people either love or hate. But once you understand what it does inside the body of someone over 60, you may never look at it the same way again. A 200-gram serving of steamed broccoli contains nearly 7 grams of protein, more than an egg, and comes loaded with vitamin C, vitamin K, folate, potassium, and a wide spectrum of antioxidants. But here's the remarkable part. Broccoli belongs to the cruciferous family, which means it contains a compound called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane has been shown in clinical studies to directly activate pathways in aging muscle cells that allow them to recycle damaged proteins and rebuild stronger fibers. In plain language, it tells your muscles, out with the old, in with the new. I'll never forget one of my patients, John, a 74-year-old retired school bus driver. He came to me after noticing that his grip strength was declining so badly that he couldn't open jars anymore, and even carrying grocery bags had become a painful struggle. His daughter used to come every week just to help with small tasks. When I looked at his diet, I noticed he rarely touched vegetables, especially broccoli. He said it was mushy, bitter, and tasted like medicine. We made a deal. He would steam broccoli lightly just 3 times a week, then drizzle it with olive oil, garlic, and lemon to cut the bitterness. Within 3 months, his grip strength improved by 20%. More importantly, he could once again pick up his grandkids without fear of dropping them. That change didn't come from supplements or pills. It came from activating his muscles' natural repair systems with sulforaphane and plant protein. Quick question for you. When was the last time you ate broccoli? Be honest. Was it last week, last month, or do you avoid it altogether? Type your answer in the comments because I want to know how many of you are already making use of this overlooked powerhouse. Another crucial detail about broccoli is how you prepare it. Overcooking destroys much of its sulforaphane potential. The key is to steam it lightly for no more than 4 minutes or sauté it quickly in olive oil. Pairing it with mustard seeds or even a spoon of mustard on the side doubles the sulforaphane activity thanks to the enzyme myrosinase. That's a trick even many nutritionists don't know. So when you think of broccoli, don't just see a side dish. See it as a muscle repair tool as important as your exercise routine. Moving on to vegetable number 9, Brussels sprouts. These little green orbs are often pushed aside on holiday tables, but what they contain can be life-changing. A 200-gram serving of cooked Brussels sprouts provides 6 grams of protein, along with high levels of vitamin C, vitamin K, folate, manganese, and dietary fiber. But the real secret lies in their concentration of glucosinolates and polyphenols, plant chemicals that act as natural anti-inflammatories and muscle protectors. For seniors, that means fewer days of soreness after activity and faster recovery from even mild injuries. One of my patients, Eleanor, a 68-year-old retired librarian, had been struggling with muscle cramps at night. She told me she dreaded going to bed because every night around 2 in the morning, her calves would seize up in painful spasms. She had tried magnesium supplements, stretching, and even medication, but nothing worked. I suggested adding Brussels sprouts 3 times a week, roasted with olive oil, garlic, and a sprinkle of sea salt. After 6 weeks, her cramps had reduced dramatically. Why? Because Brussels sprouts don't just provide magnesium. They also balance electrolytes naturally, restoring the calcium-potassium ratio inside muscle cells. That balance is critical for proper contractions. Eleanor still emails me to this day, thanking Brussels sprouts for giving her peaceful nights again. Now I know what you might be thinking. But Dr. Martin, Brussels sprouts taste bitter and my family won't touch them. That bitterness is real, and it comes from natural compounds that protect the plant. The trick is how you cook them. Roasting at high heat caramelizes their natural sugars, turning them sweet and nutty instead of bitter. Sautéing with balsamic glaze or adding a bit of honey also transforms the flavor. If you've only tried them boiled, you've never experienced what Brussels sprouts can really taste like. And when you realize they're quietly repairing your muscles while you eat, that's motivation enough to give them another chance. Here's a direct question for you. Would you be willing to try Brussels sprouts this week if it meant fewer cramps and stronger muscles? Comment "try" below if you're open to it. I want to see how many of you are ready to take action. Finally, we arrive at vegetable number 10, the one I warned you about, the one that stunned researchers and left them almost speechless when they saw the results. That vegetable is beetroot. Now I can already hear some of you saying, beets? Aren't those just for salads? But let me explain why beetroot is unlike anything else we've covered so far. A 200-gram serving of cooked beets contains about 5 grams of protein, but that's not what makes them extraordinary. What makes beets revolutionary for seniors is their sky-high content of natural nitrates. These nitrates are converted by your body into nitric oxide, a compound that expands blood vessels, improves circulation, and supercharges the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to your muscles. Think about what that means. More oxygen reaching your muscle fibers, more nutrients absorbed, faster recovery, and greater endurance. A study in the Journal of Gerontology followed older adults who drank beetroot juice daily for 6 weeks. The results? Their walking endurance improved by 15%, and muscle oxygenation during activity increased by nearly 30%. That's like giving your muscles a second youth. Let me tell you about Robert, a 79-year-old retired carpenter who came to me after feeling constantly exhausted. He said climbing a single flight of stairs left him gasping for air, and he feared he would soon be confined to his home. I suggested adding roasted beets and beet juice to his diet 4 times a week. Within 2 months, he was walking daily without stopping to catch his breath. By the end of 4 months, he could mow his lawn again, something he thought he had lost forever. His secret wasn't a new medication or a miracle drug. It was beetroot, doing what science has proven it does best, opening blood vessels and fueling muscles. And here's another layer. Beetroot doesn't just improve circulation. It also supports mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside your cells that generate energy. Studies show that beetroot can make mitochondria more efficient, meaning every bite of food you eat is turned into more usable energy for your muscles. That's why athletes across the world use beet juice to enhance performance. But you don't need to be an athlete. At 70, 80, or even 90 years old, beetroot can help you feel more energetic, more capable, and more independent. One practical tip: beet juice is potent. So if you try it, start with half a cup and see how your body responds. Pairing beets with citrus, like oranges or lemons, enhances iron absorption and balances the earthy flavor. Roasting them brings out natural sweetness, while grating them raw into salads adds crunch and freshness. So now we've arrived at the end of this journey. 10 vegetables, each with more protein than eggs, each with unique compounds that fight muscle loss, and each capable of transforming your strength, independence, and vitality. From spinach and kale to mustard greens, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and the astonishing beetroot, you now have a complete arsenal to fight back against sarcopenia and reclaim your energy. Let me ask you this. Which of these final 3, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, or beetroot, are you most excited to try first? Drop your answer in the comments, because I read every single one, and I want to know which of these powerhouses you're bringing into your life. As you reflect on this, remember the stories of John, Eleanor, Margaret, and Robert. They weren't special cases. They were ordinary seniors just like you who decided to make small but powerful changes in their diets. And those choices gave them back their strength, their mobility, and their independence. If you're inspired by what you've learned today, don't stop here. I've put together a complete 30-day muscle recovery meal plan using all 10 of these vegetables in easy, delicious recipes. You'll find the link pinned in the top comment below. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, Senior Thrive, and hit the notification bell. Every week I release new videos packed with science-backed strategies to help you build strength, fight aging, and live fully. Because the truth is this, your future isn't written yet. Weakness, dependence, and decline are not your destiny. With the right foods, the right knowledge, and the right choices, you can continue to thrive. At 60, 70, 80, and beyond, the power is on your plate. The only question is, will you use it? I encourage you to stay connected with us here at Senior Thrive, because this is just the beginning. Each week, we bring you new insights into healthy aging, nutrition, and strength building, always with the goal of keeping you independent and thriving. If you have found value in what we shared today, I invite you to subscribe, share this video with someone you love, and continue learning with us. Before you go, let me know in the comments. Which of these 10 vegetables are you most excited to try first? I read every response, and I can't wait to see what you choose. Remember, your journey does not end here. Your next chapter is waiting to be written, and it can be stronger, healthier, and more joyful than you ever imagined. This is Dr. Martin reminding you that your muscles, your health, and your future are not defined by your age, but by the choices you make today. Choose strength, choose vitality, choose to thrive, and together we will continue building a community where seniors are not only surviving, but truly thriving.